Hello, my little draconic wolfkins. I hope that you're all doing well. I hope that you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving or whatever holiday you celebrate. But if you guys like what you see and hear, please like, subscribe, and turn on that bell to get notified. And if you guys want to send me your own horror stories, my email and Reddit thread will be in the description below. Alright, let's get started. When I was 7 years old, just on the cusp of memory and soft imagination, my mother, sister, and I moved into a very strange place. Define a very strange place, I'm just curious. I remember a lot of pieces of my childhood, like flashes out of the corner of my eye so I can nearly make out the moments that defined my younger years. Many memories of the trailer my family moved to are hazy. Some more memorable, like birthday parties or particularly big storms, and other memories are more faint, like the sound my sister's door contained made when you walk through it. She had this curtain made of strings of purple plastic beads that hung in her doorway. This was a trend in the early 90s, and although faint, it's a sound that haunted my dreams. Um, okay. This is concerning and weird, but I can't wait to hear the rest of the story. But yeah, the beads were definitely a trend in the 90s. I think I remember seeing a lot of that in like every 90s movie ever. And I'm sure a lot of kids who grew up in the 90s also remember having the beaded curtain, you know? Anyways, my grandparents lived across the street and down a long driveway in a two-story farmhouse aged by the solid, whitewashed brick that made up the walls. Ooh, okay, that sounds, um, rustic? Yeah, rustic. The sturdy and filled with large wooden-framed windows, the home sat beside a large barn where my grandfather stored hay and farm equipment. I mean, that's rather normal, I guess. In hindsight, it makes sense why my mom would have jumped at the opportunity to live in the old rundown trailer. She was a real estate agent at the time, and the mobile home setting was a step down from the home we lived in before. Is it really, though? I'm just curious. I've never lived in a trailer, so I wouldn't know. Like, I know trailers can be, like, super fucking nice, but then you get to the trailers that are just god awful, you know? However, being a recently single mother with two children and a third on the way, whew, she must have figured my grandparents would be a huge resource and help take care of the kids, and they were. Uh, yeah. I mean, when I lived in Escalon, my it was we lived on a farm, and my parents put a modular home where my grandparents on my mom's side lived, and when my mom needed to do something or other things where my parents needed to go out, my grandparents would take care of my brother and I. Anyways, I've been finding it strange how memories can be sharp and at the same time have no structure or foundation in reality, like a funhouse mirror exploding in slow motion. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I can't remember a foam Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle staff I got for my 8th birthday in the house. Donatello, okay. I remember the sound effects it made when you swung it, or the crash sound when I hit my sister with it. Yeah, typical older sibling, I'm not gonna lie. But for some reason, I just can't remember what the kitchen looked like. I remember how big the windows were at my grandparents' house, the high ceilings with glass running down from crown mold and all the way to the floor, and the solid, quiet wooden boards underfoot. My grandparents' home was beautiful, and I can't for the life of me remember what it looked like after it burned down later that year. Ooh, it burned? Damn, that is... Ah, oh, shit. Sorry, guys. At the beginning of September this year, I stopped smoking weed and overall I felt fine. The one thing that caught me off guard, though, was in my sobriety. I was having dreams again. I mean, you can still have some wild-ass dreams while high on weed. Like, I know that for damn sure. I was shocked to realize how long it had been since I had long, detailed dreams that I remember. I was so excited after my first dream-filled night. I thought about the dream I had all day and relished in telling my girlfriend all about it. It wasn't until I had the dream I've had 100 times in my childhood that I regretted my new ability. Yeah, that's generally how it goes. It's puzzling how something can be forgotten and somehow still exists somewhere deep down inside of oneself. Oh God, yeah, that... Ugh, I hate that, honestly. Sorry, I was just thirsty. When I was a kid, I remember having night terrors on a regular basis. I don't remember the dream so much as waking up terrified and running to my mom's room, or being shook awake by my mother or sister because I was screaming. Yeah, that makes sense. At the time, I have At the time, I had even been sleepwalking episodes. Ooh, okay. It wasn't until talking to my older sister this week that I knew those dreams only persisted as long as we were in that house, and I wasn't the only one in our small family who was tortured in that house. Really? Oh my God. That had to have been terrifying, you know? Like, nope. There was a plastic Fisher-Price playhouse about 30 yards into the forest behind a thicket right behind the house. Oh, okay. My sister and I would spend time playing games and exploring around the little plastic house. As an adult now, I know that house must have been too small for my sister and I to both fit inside of. However, I can vividly remember the two of us sitting cross-legged in the plastic house, my sister telling me a scary story. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, shit, though. Was it that small? What the hell am I talking about? They're really made for toddlers, I'm not gonna lie. And finally, me running home in a low-lighted thicket to tell my mom that Alice is trying to scare me. Yeah, no fucking shit, she's trying to scare you. That's what siblings do. They harass and try to scare the shit out of each other. I'm just saying. Later that night, I remember the sirens filling up the night air and the panic I felt not understanding all the lights, and how something could be so loud as the fire truck. My mom gathered us up and took us across the street to my grandparents' house, and as we made our way down the long driveway to the still standing beautiful farmhouse, I watched the firemen running to meet the rapidly growing orange glow coming from the thicket next to our house. Oh shit. Oh shit, okay. Okay, so it's getting real. My sister was blamed for the fire that had burned up the plastic Fisher Price house, and, well, it was a quarter acre of the surrounding woods. Not to mention nearly burning our house down in the process. Really? Your sister was blamed for that? Why? And I think that's also a huge fine, too. Just to, like, replant, like, the forest? Or is that just in, like, forested, like, national forest? No, no, I don't think so. A void formed between my mother and my sister around this time, and from my childhood point of view, my sister hated my mom. Yeah, makes sense. What I hadn't realized then, that I am beginning to wrap my head around today, is that my sister didn't burn down the plastic house in the woods, and she didn't burn down my grandparents' house either, although at this time those facts were far from apparent. Really? Your sister was also blamed for burning down your grandparents' house? That doesn't make any sense. My mother and sister haven't been close for as long as I can remember. They would get in screaming matches a few times a year, and the cops would even get called a few times, never ending in an arrest. Holy shit, okay. Damn. Once my sister was 16, she moved away from home, got married, and lived her life. What the fuck? Okay, I mean, different time, I guess. A few short years later, I left home with plans to do the same. And once my grandparents passed, we all drifted apart, and life kind of just went on. When I called my sister to ask about the dream I had last week, was the first time we talked in the last year. Holy shit, okay. So, definitely a void. When I called my sister, the things we talked about shattered the doors to memories that had been locked away for the last 20 years. Holy shit, okay. Okay. Sorry, guys, I just feel like I have to burp, but it's not coming out. Okay, there we go. She was 3 years older than me and about 5 years more mature than I was when we moved into the trailer across from my grandparents. The wavy, dreamlike recollection that I had during those times are far from the ones she held on to. Ooh, okay, okay. She told me that Mom was in a bad place at the time emotionally, that I was just too young to recall. We stayed with our grandparents more than I had remembered while our mom was out doing whatever she was doing. Most of all, though, that there was something wrong with that house. Oh shit. So, your mom was probably doing some, I don't know, sketchy shit? Sketchy shit that she shouldn't do? I'm just saying. We talked for hours, and I was beginning to be able to see my beyond rose-colored glasses. I had worn before. You had those dreams every single night, she had said. My sister told me that I would scream, thrash around, and even get up and creep around the house, just like I had some memories of it, but it wasn't just me. Ooh, oh shit. God, that is nuh-uh. Like, I would move out of that house so damn fast, but when you're a kid, you don't have money, you can't do that. I'm just saying. Alice had been tormented in that house as well, not in dreams, but in the waking moments between them. When I asked her what she meant, she sort of trailed off as if she didn't know how to explain the feeling. It was like the house hated us and everything was just wrong. Everything was just all wrong. Ooh, okay. Okay, like, damn. Like, I don't even know if I've ever had that feeling, honestly. When we ended our call, my mind raced, studying every shiny, bent shard of memory of that place, like she said it was wrong. Something about that place in the time was just bad. Ugh. I'm getting chills, I'm not gonna lie. I wish there was a more elegant way to put it. The very thought of that piece of my childhood made me nauseous. It was all because of the stream. It was a place I had been in, a setting I felt familiar with, although filled with dread. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. But, like, holy shit, this story is fucking long, and I am okay with it. I am not gonna lie. Crippled with nostalgia as I stood in my Alice's childhood room, starting through the beaded curtain, otherwise shiny bulbs tinted brown in the dull darkness. My view into the doorway from here was more than enough to send me directly back to 7 years old. Oof, that has to have been chilling for you to do, just thinking back. I knew there was something in that room, my room. I also knew I had to get past my room to get my mother for help, but that whatever or whoever was in my room would never allow me to make at the home base. Oh, you were cocked blocked so hard. The sound of those light plastic beads fluttering around my shoulders has never faded from my mind. When I woke, I knew I had lived in this dream for years, a lifetime ago. Oof. Ugh. I hadn't asked Alice about the fires. I knew she had been assumed to be the cause, and I also knew it was a very touchy subject for our still tender relationship. Yeah, yeah, like I get that. Like you want to ask, but you don't want to damage what relationship you have with her, you know? It was time to talk to my mother. Things weren't adding up for me. If we had lived in a haunted house, why hadn't she moved us, and why have we never spoke about it? Oh, maybe because your mom was also traumatized by it in a way? I don't remember my grandparents' home burning down and would at least dig more into the topic. My mother was different than she was when we were kids. In her older age, she spent her time working with her students and decorating her yard. We had stayed close, or at least closer than her and Alice to stay at least. I mean, yeah, I mean that makes sense, I guess. She was hesitant to really open up about the place, that house, and not sure what to do with the knowledge I have at this point or knowing what happened to us there. Yeah, I get it. Like, it's probably traumatizing for her, honestly. She said I was right. That place was bad and everything felt wrong there. Then why didn't y'all, I don't know, move? But got more serious as she began to describe our situation. We were poor, honey. Mom and Dad had more than enough space and help us help to offer us, and I needed all the help I could get with you kids. She had been in an abusive relationship with my younger brother's dad. Ooh, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Whom she was pregnant with when we moved into the house. Yeah, that it had been a trick of the mind. I hadn't remembered my brother living at the house with us at all. Oh shit, like you just have no memories of your brother living at the house with you? Shit. My mother told me about how the house seemed to affect us kids, that we all acted sort of off, and how my sister most notably became very reclusive and just generally acting bizarre. She had been described at times to feel dreamlike, almost like the period was out of place in her memory. What about the fires? I asked. Yeah, like I want to know more about these fires. Like, I want to know. My mother was quiet, almost refusing to acknowledge the right place in the time. As I waited for what felt like forever, she stammered across her words. I couldn't I couldn't feel the regret in them. We thought your sister set the fires. She had just become so mean. There was something evil rubbing off on all of us. You two had been out in the woods and she was trying to scare you with some awful story she had heard at school like she always was. I scolded her and she hid away till after dinner and just went to bed. When the woods were on fire, your sister was the only reasonable culprit in my eyes. When your grandparents' house burned down, I didn't want to believe it, but I knew it had to be her. Though the sleepless weeks before, the sleepless weeks that followed, it just made more or less sense. What the fuck? That doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Like, I'm sorry. Holy shit, where? Oh, okay, so I was on this paragraph. Sleepless nights? I asked, before she went on to explain. Between my night terrors and all the sounds she heard outside of the house on a regular basis, she would often stay up with me and watch movies with the sound too high. Oof, oof, okay, okay. My mother is a tough woman, but I could tell she was becoming emotional. Yeah, I mean, it must have been hard on her, I'm not gonna lie. Your sister didn't burn anything. I was wrong, and I ruined our relationship because I hadn't trusted her words. But I got you two out of there safe. Oh, so you did move. Maybe? I I can't even tell. Like, seriously, what the fuck? Before I could say anything, she continued, your younger brother's dad was a bad man. He followed us from Kentucky and stalked us for about 3 years. He burned down the woods where you kids played and burned down my parents' house. That entire time we lived there, we were being hunted by him, by that monster. Oh shit. Like, seriously, like, abusive ass people just don't know what to do with themselves once they lose control over their victims. Like, shit. She was sobbing now, and I was out of words. Before any came to me, she continued, when my mom and dad's house burned down, your sister told me she saw Brad looking at her through the window and said she had been saying Brad was outside looking in her window for weeks. Oh shit, so the guy's name was Brad. Why is it like Brad's such a dickhead name? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are Brads out there who are actually really nice, but god damn. I was mentally strung out and about to have your brother. At that time, I had no capacity to believe anything she said or did. But she was right. I've never forgiven myself for not believing her. Yeah, good, because you are a piece of shit mother. I mean, okay, not a complete piece of shit mother, but you're up there, that's for damn sure. The next day, I got you kids together and we went to your dad's house in Virginia. My mother told me after we left the house, it burned to the ground. Nobody was ever arrested. Brad had vanished off the face of the earth. My mother told me Brad had killed himself on my brother's 5th birthday, and he was a very sick man, one whose face I can't remember but haunts my dreams still. Good, because that guy deserves was just a waste of fucking space and air. I hate to say it. Some folks are haunted by memories, others by guilt. A few folks out there are haunted by ghosts, and the very unfortunate few haunted by living by the living need not dream. This is my first story. This is my first story. Thank you for reading. Like, holy shit. Like, shit. Like, yeah, I mean, not the best grammar, and it was, and the video is a bit lengthy, but holy fucking shit, guys. Like, shit, that was, whew, just whew. I'll see you guys in the next video.